to infinity and beyond. Good evening, my name is Sean, and tonight we will be talking about a man whom I believe is one of the greatest innovators and inspirations to the 21st century. We're going to be talking about the late Steve Jobs. You might be wondering why I quoted a quote from the movie Toy Story. Well, Toy Story was made in 1995 by Pixar, which was bought by Steve Jobs and eventually bought by Disney. So I'll talk about that a little later, but Steve was born February 24th, 1955 in San Francisco, California. His parents were unwed college students, and they put him up for adoption, and his adopted parents, which are Paul and Clara Jobs, are his parents now. Jobs wanted to go to Reed College, which is in Oregon, and it was a very expensive art school, and his real mother's wish is for him to go to college. So even though it was expensive, his adopted parents sent him there. After a year of college, Steve dropped out and went back to his hometown, where his best friend Steve Wozniak was. Steve Wozniak was in the middle of the technology era. It was about to start booming, and he was in the midst of building his first computer, which was then just a circuit board. Steve Jobs helped him, and people got very interested in that and wanted to start. Were interested in buying that, and that is where Apple got started. Right before he right after he dropped out of college, he went over to the East in India and different places like that on a trip of enlightenment and looking for different alternatives for medicine and different types of food and things like that at the age of 19. And after that is when he came back and worked with Steve Wozniak. After they built their first computer, they began working on their second computer, which was called the Apple II. A gentleman from Intel came and invested $250,000 for this computer system and told them they would be on the most richest list in up to 2 years, which he was correct. Let's go a few years ahead. Apple now is really not producing anything that is, I guess what you could say is advanced as what it was. Their sales are going down. They see Steve Jobs as a temper-rounded managerial type, and they decide to toss him to the side. The board decides to tell him that he is not going to have any managerial roles, but he can stay on the board. So with this time, he has a lot of free time on his hands. He does things like he got asked by Atari to build different kinds of circuit boards, and this is a time where he bought Pixar from LucasArts, which had it before him, which was just a group of engineers looking to delve into the animations business for movies and television. He bought Pixar, and the first movie that came out was in 1995, which was Toy Story, and that's when he made Pixar public and made people known to that company. He made more money from that company in the 1990s than he ever made from anything in Apple before that. By that same time, Apple was going downhill. Their sales were going downhill. Their board thought they had a terrible manager and CEO, which they decided to get rid of. At that time, they named Steve Jobs as the interim CEO and eventually the head CEO. From that time on, they created things that were his innovations, that were his ideas, and that he put his ideas into, beginning with the iMac, the iBook, now currently the MacBook, and then the iPods, the iPads, and what everyone you see having is the iPhone. From his ideas and from his dreams and from his downturn of Apple getting rid of him, he never stopped, and he tried to fulfill his dream, and he did that with things that I never dreamt I would see today. Just remember, your dreams and your ideas are never too small to reach. They're never too small to gain. And recently, just a fact about Steve Jobs: a week after his passing, the newest iPhone went on sale, and in 24 hours, it sold 1 million products. So, I mean, he will be remembered for the generations. And that's all I have. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your time.